Hey guys, just wanted to do a video of some Elvis books that I have. One I purchased and three I found in the library, my local library. So the one that I actually bought was this one, The Faith of Elvis, Story Only a Brother Can Tell by Billy Stanley. If you're not too familiar with the Stanley brothers, they're Elvis's stepbrothers. I think in 1960, Vernon Presley remarried. I think her name was Dee, and she had three boys from her previous marriage. So they became, Elvis's stepbrothers. And Elvis, according to him, accepted them like he was like, and he became kind of like their, brother and almost like their father figure. And this is the latest book that Billy Stanley wrote. I saw some interviews on YouTube with Billy Stanley on. I know he did a couple with the Spa Guy. I'm gonna go check that YouTube channel out. He seemed to be, interesting guy with a lot of stories. I mean, he lived with Elvis from like 1960 to 1977, so he was, he's got a story to tell. And it's one thing, people that say, oh, just this, still making money off Elvis's name and stuff like that. That's another thing people think about too when they come to everybody's writing their own book about Elvis. But I thought this would be kind of interesting because he did was part of that inner circle, and I'm more interested in reading books about people that actually, you know, were in part of that inner circle with Elvis. So when I was at the library, I found out he actually wrote a book before in 1989. I think it came out in 1989. Elvis, My Brother. So this is his first book. By the looks of the books, this one looks a bit more detailed compared to this one. Just looking at the amount of pages, this is like, I think the amount of pages in this is like about maybe 200, maybe 220 pages, where this one is, yeah, a little bit more, maybe about 280. I don't know, this one looks a little bit more detailed than this one. It looks like this one has like a theme. It focuses more on, the religion, his faith, and all that. So I wanted to pick this one up too. So I'm starting to read this one, and hopefully, I'm not sure if both books are going to have the same story or what have you. But I also have this one. Another book I found that I really wanted to buy, but this book is really expensive. But I found it at the library. The Death of Elvis Presley. What happened? What really happened? So basically, I started reading a little bit about this book. It's very like medical technical. It's all about the medical side of everything with like the autopsy and stuff like that. It kind of at least starts off with the ambulance arriving at Graceland and them going to the hospital, really describing that scene. And then they talk about the autopsy, and then they're going into the investigation. Geraldo Rivera had a special regarding the investigation. You could probably watch that on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube. It came out maybe 1979 or 1980, maybe 81, but it came out a few years after Elvis died. And it's kind of like about this book, really, the investigation of how he died and different interviews and stuff like that. So I find the book, really interesting because, just to find out, what really happened, especially towards the, the later parts of his life and stuff. I found this part really interesting. This girl right here, which I never heard before. I never knew who she was. Her name is Alicia Curran, and they talk about in the book about that she was going to replace Ginger Alden. So apparently, the tour that never happened, like his last tour that he was going to go, and Ginger wasn't. They had a fight or something, and Ginger wasn't going to go with him, so he was going to have Alicia attend the tour with him. So I don't know how true that is. I just read Ginger Alden's book, and she just kind of like talks about how everything's like kind of like happy between them. And she never really talks about anything about them having any fights. But I mean, this book really kind of like tears her apart, really. saying that they were arguing all the time and stuff like that, and yeah, so really interesting in reading this one. And the next one I got was um, Elvis Up Close, in the words of those who knew him best. So basically, is this about people that know him, that were in his life. It's kind of like almost like an interview kind of thing. They talk about different stages of his career. So you got people like Billy Stanley or David Stanley talking about it. They don't have Ginger's mom in here talking about Elvis. Uh, Larry Geller, the doctor, all that, and so I thought this was kind of be interesting to read. You get the perspective that people that actually lived the life, lived with Elvis or knew him, and I thought that would be really interesting. So I got these 4 books. I hate getting library books because you have that due date and you're like you got to return them. You can renew them, of course, but eventually you have to bring them back. So, but gonna read those. I might not read all these 3 books, but maybe just pick out a few things in each book, things I'm interested in, or what part of his career that I'm want to learn more about. But those are the books I have. I'll probably do a review of this one hopefully soon once I finish it, and I'll let you know how it is.